What is this? Why is it so hard to change someone's mind? Confirmation bias and anchoring bias. Oh, that's a good question.
Why is it so hard to change someone's mind? Let's talk about it. If you're new to my channel, I'm of course Rachel, the neuroscientist. The brain really doesn't like changing its mind, and that gives rise to things like the confirmation bias, anchoring bias. Confirmation bias means that we'll actually selectively filter out information that is incongruent with our existing beliefs. Even if we do process that information, we'll give it a lot less weight than we would with something that actually aligns with our existing ideas. Anchoring bias is where
I think an example of confirmation bias that's non-political is people that notice that certain events happen on their birthday. Have you guys ever known somebody or talked to somebody or had the experience yourself where you noticed that a number of important things happened on your birthday? Yeah, that's just an example.
Hold on to the very first thing that we learn about something, and it's hard for us to let go of that, even when we're presented
Anchoring bias is used a lot in sales. Anchoring bias is also one of the tools that they use for upselling you for digital deluxe copies and also subscriptions.
Evidence that suggests that it's not accurate. What a terrible design. Why are we like this? Well, neuroscientifically speaking, once you learn something, your brain has to restructure and rewire itself. We also instinctively perceive change, uncertainty, unpredictability as inherently dangerous.
True.
Sticking to what's familiar can obviously serve as an evolutionary advantage.
Play WoW for 20 years.
The last and perhaps more psychological component of that is that our ideas tend to be tethered to our identity.
Yep.
And
this is a big problem that people have, is that their viewpoints on things, their identity is based off of it. And you see this, I think the best example is that look at people's Twitter bios. A lot of their Twitter bios aren't even about them. It's about ideas and opinions they have.
Brain really doesn't like threats to identity. Your sense of self involves so many different structures, memories, processes in the brain. To rewrite that would be very complicated, and in the daily struggle for survival, potentially fatal.
I think that she makes a good point. I think that also, you can look at it from, a more social perspective as well. If you have to change your mind, you also have to admit that you were initially wrong. And people don't like admitting that they're wrong because of ego. I think that she brings up a good point, and I mean, obviously she knows 1,000,000% more about this than I do, but I think this is the way people think.